you all. Just running a little behind today. It's just kind of one of those days. I don't have a really great reason. Trying to do a lot of stuff all at once. I was working on a project and then I had to put my son down for a nap, because I don't know about your kids, but if my kids don't get a nap, they're bears, at least when they're little. I'm just going to set this up really quick. When I first turn this on, my page on my computer over here doesn't load it immediately, so I'm just going to reload it so I can see you guys and see what you're seeing, and share this video so other people can see it. Here we go, there I am. So I'm going to share this on my page and one of my other pages that and then we will get started. So today we're going to be talking about layering. And in case you all are unaware, I'm with Chalk Couture. Chalk Couture is a company that makes reusable adhesive vinyl transfers. They also make chalk paste and chalk inks and surfaces and other accessories that go along with all of this kind of stuff. And so today we're going to be talking about how we can layer the paste colors. Now our paste is a little thicker than a normal paint. It's a chalk paste, and it dries hard and won't be rubbed off after that. But if you, goodness gracious, if you, there we go. If you were to wet it, it can be washed off. So this morning, before I got started, I washed off a previous project I had done on this board. This is a Chalk Couture board. It is a really high quality frame and a magnetic chalk surface. I'll show you these in a little bit, but this is a magnet flower that I made to use as embellishments on this particular frame. And I'll show you more of these in just a minute and what you can do with those. But today we're going to be working with two of the actual transfers that came with my starter kit. And I'll show you. It's called the Established Wreath. And here's all the pieces, how it comes. So you guys can take a look at this. This particular transfer comes with this piece and all of these all connected together, and then you cut it all apart, these and the numbers and all that stuff. I cut them apart already for the numbers that I would be using for today. And then the other transfer that we'll be using is 4 pieces. They're flowers from the mini florals, and both of these transfers come with the starter kit. When you sign up for Chalk Couture, you pay $99 plus shipping and tax. And you get all kinds of stuff. You get 8 transfers, you get a whole package of these little cards. They're actually thank you for your purchase cards, but I like to use them whenever I do my videos so everybody can see what company I'm with. It also comes with 5 paste colors, and they were giving us these smaller paste colors. These are 2-ounce containers, but we got an email this week saying that starting May 1st, our new starter kit will be coming with full-size 3-ounce paste colors. So that's really cool for people who sign up then, because you're getting more for the same amount of money. So that's awesome. So the way Chalk Couture transfers work, they are adhesive. They are put on a backing. And I'm going to make this bigger so I can see who's here. If you've joined me, please say something so I will know that you are here. I see Rhea. Hi, Rhea. So anyway, these are reusable adhesive vinyl transfers. They have a silk screen. I know that you all can't see. Anywhere there's a blank space on one of these transfers, there's a really fine silk screen in it. And so the way that you use these is you pull them off of their backing. One side of the backing is high gloss, the other side is kind of a matte gloss. When you put it back on, always put it on the high gloss side. It doesn't come off the other side easily, and you could totally ruin your transfer if you're not careful. Okay, but because these are adhesive and they are so very sticky, for certain items, especially flat surfaces that are hard, you would want to fuzz it. So it's called fuzzing the transfer. You're literally picking up fuzz off of a towel onto the back of your transfer. I have never used the whole thing. I've used like a little mini section of this before on another project. But because I've never used the rest of it before, I'm going to actually lay it down about 4 times to make sure I'm picking up enough fuzz, because they adhere to this chalkboard surface really well. So you fuzz your transfer like this. Once you got it fuzzed, you put it down on your surface where you want it. And it's no big deal if you lay it down and it doesn't look like you want it to or where you want it to. You can always lift it right back up and try again. I kind of laid this out a little bit this morning just to see how I wanted it to look on my board, so I wouldn't have to take as much time laying it out in front of you all. So one of the things is you want to make sure that it's adhered well around your design, or you might get a bubble. Bubbles in your transfer is not a huge deal, but it kind of can change the look of the way your chalk is when you pull your transfer up. So the plan here, I'm going to turn this around so you all can see it. Do it this way. The plan here, and this whole point of this wreath, is to make it like your family thing or something along those lines. Maybe a birthday. If you're celebrating someone's birthday, you can make them one of this and just set it up just for that birthday, and then change it for the next person's birthday in your family. So I'm going to do it for my family when my husband and I were married. So my plan is, we were married in 2003, to lay these out. And what I've discovered about the numbers on here is you'll know if you have them upside down, because the 0 doesn't line up on the bottom with the number 2. So whenever I lay all of this out here in a minute, I'm going to have to reuse the 0 for 2003. So that's along the lines of how it's going to look. And what I'm going to do actually is lay the 2 down, lay the 0 down, do the 0 first, clean it up, and then set it back over here next to the 3 so it's all lined up the way that I want it to. A lot of people use painter's tape or washi tape to make a straight edge on the bottom so you get all of your pieces exactly straight. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it today. I do that a lot. I don't know why, because I'm kind of a perfectionist. It would make more sense if I would lay it all out first, but we'll see. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get started here. Some of the accessories that Chalk Couture makes that I mentioned are our squeegees. This is an angled squeegee. It is thicker and bigger, easier to hold. It has lots of different sizes on the angles on the squeegee. So you can scrape off the stuff in different sizes. So for instance, if I'm doing this little part here, I'm in a different color, I might use this. Or I might use this little small side over here as opposed to using the longer side over here like I would do on this part. We also have our small squeegee. I cut mine apart, and that's how I got this little one and this size here. I actually shared another little piece like this with my mom earlier this week, so I only have the one. So anyway, I see you, Rhea. Anyway, and then I have some stir sticks here. These are actually cake pop sticks that I never used for cake pops. These are mine. I have found them in my kitchen drawer. They have a little lip on them here, which is really great because when I'm stirring my paste up, I can see that it's not getting on the lip, and then I can lay this down on my surface and it doesn't make a mess. Although if the chalk, paint, or ink, paste or ink does get on your surface, it's no big deal. You can wipe it up really, really easily. And some other supplies that I have, I must have left my wipes in the other room, no big deal. I have some paper towels here just for wiping off my squeegees when I'm switching colors. And I have a pan of water over here to set my transfers in whenever I'm done, so the paste, or if I were working with the ink, one of our Chalk Couture inks, wouldn't dry on the surface of this, and it's easier to clean off that way. Although some of our transfers are really large. I don't know if you can see too good. Over here in the corner, I have a piece that's really big, and also this birthday sign that I have beside me over here, also very large. And these you can't lay in a pan. There's not a pan big enough for them, so you just have to kind of lay them out. As soon as you get done with that, you just wash it off in the sink. It's no problem. One of the other things I have over here with me today is a hair dryer. Since we're going to be layering, I wanted to dry the layers quickly so that we could move on quicker. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here. I'm going to do the wreath in our evergreen. Now this came with a starter kit. I don't know if they're going to keep the same colors. I'm assuming that they will. So probably if you get a starter kit, you will get this evergreen color, but in a larger size. See what I did there? I'm a messy crafter, you guys. I just dropped that right on the top of my table, although it seems to be dried in my lid. You got to give this a little stir here. I realized after I came in here and turned the camera on that I don't have my spray bottle. Sometimes your paste will be a little thick, so you just take a little spray bottle of water and give a little squirt in there and stir it around. This is a little thick, but it's okay. It'll work for me today since I don't have that spray bottle in here with me. So mix that around a little bit, and I think I am going to use my angled squeegee. And I'm just going to do the entire wreath vines with my angled squeegee and my evergreen paste here. What you do is you just get a glob of paste on here. This is kind of a lot, but I'm going to go over the whole thing. And I'm going to reuse what I don't use on here. You scrape it off after you're done. You just want to put it on here and you want to make sure that it gets inside all of the silkscreen, and you can tell if it has or hasn't. It's pretty easy to see that. At my angle, I know on the camera there it's not so simple. Just wipe this off real quick here. Make sure it gets into every spot. And I'm going to do the established part in white. So we'll get this initial vine area of the wreath done, and then we'll get to the layering part as soon as I dry it. So I'm just scraping off the extra and saving it. You actually use quite a small amount of paint or paste when you're doing these. I would say less. I used to paint a lot of acrylic paint with stuff, and you use less of this by far than you would acrylic paint because you don't get the globs and the heavier effect with this kind of stuff because you scrape it up. So I'm done with that. I'm just going to set my angled squeegee in the water here so I can wash it off. Now that I've done this, I'm going to pull my transfer up. When you pull your transfers, you can get it started at the corner, but you need to kind of work your way to the middle and always lift from side to side or top to bottom and not diagonally because it can stretch your transfer. And this, even though I fuzzed it 4 times, is still sticking pretty good. So I'm just going to hold it down with one hand and pull it up with the other. Being careful not to stick my finger in it. Yesterday, or the other day, I did a video, and while I was doing it, I stuck my finger in my design as I was lifting my transfer and messed it up. It was easily fixed later on, but it didn't look good whenever I finished the last little bit of it. So I'm laying my transfer in my water here. Oh, I let it touch itself. Alright, if you let the sticky touch itself, it's hard to get apart sometimes, but that was just barely touching. So I lay it face down in my water so that the paste soaks, the water kind of helps soak some of the paste off. And it covers the adhesive with water on the other side, so when I lay my next transfer down, they don't start sticking together. The water acts as a barrier between them. Alright, so here's my wreath. That's so pretty. That evergreen color is really nice. I'm not sure how well it shows up for you guys. I can kind of see that you all get a pretty decent view of it. Alright, so next we're going to lay down... Oh, I forgot to do the established part. That's okay. I can lay that in a minute. Alright, first I'm going to lay down these numbers here. And I've never used these numbers either, and even though they're little small pieces, I'm still going to fuzz them so they don't stick to my board really hard and make me stretch them to pull them up. So I got 2, 0, 3. And like I said, you can tell if the 0 is upside down because it's a wider space on the transfer between the bottom than it is on the top. And if you lay the 2 down and it's not lined up, you'll be able to tell. So the established is pretty high up on the thing. I'm going to lay this here. The 2 and then the 0. And I'm going to go ahead and lay the 3 down simply because I want it lined up with the other numbers. That's a great thing about our transfers too. They all come with cut lines on them. So if you cut them the way that it shows, then you get them pretty evenly spaced from top to bottom and side to side, and you can use that as a guide. That actually looks pretty good to me. Maybe a little further over that way. I'll move this over. It's going to bug me if I don't. I don't know about you guys, but I get kind of weird about stuff like that. If it's not lined up exactly, it bugs me. So we'll just shift it over a little bit right here. And you see, you can peel it up and lay it back down if it's not where you want it. It doesn't affect your transfer or your design as long as you're not sticking your finger in what you've already worked on. I'll space these a little bit more there. There we go. That ought to do it. Okay, so I'm going to do these in white as well as the established. I wish I'd remember to do that, but once I clean my transfer off, and I can put just that little part, stick that back down, and it won't be any big deal at all. Like I said, I'm going to blow dry this so it dries really quick so we can start layering some flowers and vines on there, and you guys can kind of see how that all works out. I will use this small one because this one is wider than my transfer pieces, and I don't want to get off the edge. If you do, you can clean it up. It's just kind of a hassle to do that. I was using this earlier today, so I'm not even going to give it a start. I'm just going to use it. I've been working on a pretty cool design with a henna transfer. It's got like a mandala pieces that you can put together and make one big one or a small one, or just use the pieces individually, and it looks more like a paisley kind of thing. Really cute. But I'm using it with some of our inks, which take longer to dry, and on a cutting board. And it's just been, I have to like lay a piece down, take it up, use the hairdryer to dry it for a while, and then wait a little while, and then I can do some more. I'm going to wash this 0 off real quick here so I can reuse it. And here's how you wash them. You put it in your water. You use your fingers or your thumbs to wipe off extra paste or ink that's on it. And then you set it over here on your towel. You take a paper towel to wipe off any extra water. Now, if I were done with this transfer for the day, when I finished this part of it, I would flip it over and I would use a Clorox wipe to clean the adhesive. And that keeps your adhesive lasting as long as possible. All of our transfers, you can actually get around 8 to 12 uses out of them before the adhesive gives way on you. Alright, so this is so small, I think it'll be fine to just lay it back down. Let's see here. Get this even with the bottom. Make sure it's pretty close. There we go. Just make sure that's sealed down there good. Ooh, got a wet spot. It's not a big deal that it's wet. It's just that if I were to touch this with another transfer when I was trying to do a design, it wouldn't, it might not come out right. It might change the consistency of the paste. So lastly, this little 0 here, and then I'll pull all of them up. The paste does dry pretty quickly, so you kind of have to be careful to not let the paste dry on the transfer, or when you pull it, the paste stays on the transfer instead of underneath and in your project. Sticking to my finger. Face down. All the transfers always go face down in the water so the paste can soak off. There we go. And like I said, if they touch in the water, it's okay. The water acts as a barrier between the adhesive and the other parts of the transfer. Alright. 2003. It's a little bit off, but I think it'll be fine. Rhea's watching. She knows I'll probably fix it later because I'm weird like that. Alright. So this part is done. Let me blow dry this real quick and make sure. You can kind of tell whenever the paste is dry or not. It has a different color to it. It gets a little lighter as it dries, and also it'll still have a little bit of a shiny sheen to it. When the chalk paste dries, it just does not have a sheen at all. So You'll know if it's dry whenever you don't see the color or the sheen. I'm going to do it on a cool set. Just trying to dry this. While I'm doing this, I will recover my green and cover my white so it doesn't dry out. With a hairdryer, this takes 30 seconds. If you let it sit, it might take a couple of minutes unless it's really thick, and then it would take longer to dry. Like a little thicker place right here that I can see is not quite dry yet. And that's it. And the time that it took me to do the numbers and do the little blow dryer there, the green is completely dry. And I think the color's even better now. It's more vibrant, it stands out better. Okay, so with the flowers, my plan is to layer these on here. And I'm going to use the same two paste colors to do all of these. And I'm going to be getting my fingers messy a little bit. And I'm just going to do like a little bundle of flowers right here in the corner. Actually, I'm going to do it right on the bottom. Well, if I can get it off of there. And once again, I'm fuzzing my transfers before I use them. I'm just going to lay them all out here because I'm going to be using all of these. And there's no rhyme or reason to how I'm putting these on my design. I'm just going to lay them down, and if I like it, great. If I don't, I'll just wash it off and redo it. This is not a board that I like to have permanent. I use this one typically for doing my live videos because it's such a nice board and it looks so good when it's finished. I leave them setting up in here. You can see I've got quite a bit of my stuff over here. There's one in the corner. There's a happy birthday sign. I did this hat. A little bit of everything all over the place. And that's one of the great things about this too, is the versatility of our stuff, is that you can use it on pretty much anything. People have chalked their walls, their cabinets, their appliances. People, sometimes they do it on themselves. I don't know how well it would stay on your skin over time, but it does look kind of cute. You know, people, they're just doing everything. This lady recently, I watched a video that she did. She chalked the windows on her car and then let it dry, and then like a week later it was still on there even though it had rained and everything. It just really great stuff. If you're trying to take it off, sometimes you have to let the water soak on there for a little while, so I don't know, it worked out pretty cool. So I'm actually thinking about doing that on my car windows. She was advertising her business using her products. Thought that was pretty neat. A, it's less expensive, she didn't have to go out and do all of that herself, and B, you know, she didn't have to try to design it or find somebody to print it and make it and all that stuff either. Pretty cool. So here we go, just fuzzing these transfers up here, making sure they've all been lifted and set back down about 3 times at least. Now, one of the things that you have to be concerned about whenever you're layering is that it might pull up your color. And on certain things, it'll pull up the color a lot easier than others. Some of the non-Chalk Couture surfaces, such as wood and like pretty cheap little chalkboards and stuff like that, it's a good idea to use a finishing wax paste to wax your surface first. It helps the chalk paste adhere better and not come up as easily, and it also protects your transfers. The adhesive is so sticky that sometimes if it's something really cheap, like it was just a painted on surface, it can pull the paint up. So chalking is cool on anything, but some things you have to do a little prep work beforehand, because if you pull paint up on your transfer adhesive, it might not come off, and if it doesn't come off, it might not adhere well anymore, and then you would get bleeding around the design, and you really just don't want that to happen. Okay, so like I said, no rhyme or reason to this. These are 4 flowers that I just really liked and thought were cute, so I'm just going to lay, you know, I think I am going to do the diagonal. I'm just going to lay this on here like this, and I'm covering the wreath that I already chalked on. I'm just going to lay this down and make sure that it is covered well here. And I think at the same time, I'm going to do, oh man, I like all of these. I don't know. This one right here, so it doesn't cover that one either. I like that. And the two colors I'm using on these flowers, I'm going to do a little bit of an ombre effect on here because that's become like my favorite thing now. You can do it literally, like you can take your yellow or your brown or whatever color the flower center you think should be, or you can do it more abstractly. I'm going to do the colors a little more abstractly. This is my favorite color. It's called Thai Teal. We have one that's really similar. It's called Aquamarine. They're really close, but this one's a little bit lighter. I like the darker shade. I would paint every room in my house that color if I had it and if I felt like taking the time to do it. Hi Kathy, I'm glad you joined. Okay, so yeah, like I said, I'm going to do a little bit of an ombre thing here. So I'm going to clean off my little mini squeegee with my paper towel here and in my water. And this time I'm going to make sure my fingers are not wet so I'm not dripping water on my surface while I'm trying to do my design. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of the Thai Teal in the middle and then white around the edges, and I'm going to use my finger to blend them out a little bit so that it gives that ombre effect, which has become my absolute favorite thing. So Thai Teal goes in the middle on both these flowers. No particular way, I'm actually just going to kind of randomly do it like this. But I am going to scrape a little of the extra and then use on this side. There we go. And I won't be saving this paste. When I scrape it off, I'm scraping it off because it's blending the colors and I don't want to do that in my container. Mess it up for the next time. Alright, now I'm going to take my bigger piece of squeegee here and add the white. Making sure I get it around the edges good, because I'm going to use my finger to blend it on the inside. I don't want to get too close to my other color. And so I don't have to wash my finger and then redo it. I'm going to put the paste on both and then use my finger. Like I said, sometimes you got to work a little quickly with this so that it doesn't stick to the transfer whenever you pull it. Oh, I got off a little bit there. That's okay. I'll just wipe it off. So, ombre flowers, ombre everything nowadays with me in Chalk Couture. It's so easy to do and it looks really neat. It looks like you are doing something super special, like you're really good at something, but really you're just like trying some stuff and seeing how it works. And it works out pretty good most of the time. Now I'm just going to take my finger and blend the Thai Teal in with the white. Oh, looks like it's a little drying. There we go. Just put a little water on my finger. Blend it out. Just like this. Blend the two colors together. You'll see when I pull this, it's going to look really neat. And I just want to make sure that it's going into the silk screen well. Looks like it is. Same thing over here. And I add this in here. Bring some of that white down and then bring the Thai Teal up. Oh, I love this effect. Yeah, it's like, oh man, you're such a great artist. Look at these great colors. How did you paint it like that? And you're like, haha, I use Chalk Couture. It's awesome. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pull this. Once again, I'm going to try not to get it at the corner. I'll try to get it from side to side. Bonus of this is this one was underneath the other one. So it actually lifts that corner up. It makes less work for me. Gotta be careful though, I don't want to touch the wet paste on the other flower. Alright, so that's a little off, but I like the color blend. So what I'm going to do is dry this with the blow dryer real quick and then lay my other two flowers down and layer them on top of these two. I'm also going to wipe this. Now you can see I got off my transfer just a little bit. I'm just taking my paper towel that's a little bit wet here and wiping that little part off, and it doesn't affect the finished outcome of my design in the least. Awesome. That'll dry whenever I dry this. I'm going to blow dry it real quick, get this going on cool setting. I don't think the heat would affect it, but I don't need the heat. Because I dipped my finger in water, this one will take a little bit longer to dry. But you can see it didn't pull up color from my wreath. Although on occasion it will do that. You can just lay down your other transfer and touch up the places, or you can do like I do and use just a paintbrush to touch up some small areas whenever you're finished. So this is just taking a little bit longer because I had it so wet whenever I laid the other, whenever I pulled the transfer up. Hey Barbara, how are you? Haven't seen you in a really long time. I'm also going to lay down some of these vines, and I think I'm going to do this before I use my other flowers. Cool, that looks dry to me. Let me see. Yeah, and look here, I am rubbing my fingers over this. It's dry, it's not going to come off like this. Now if I used my fingernail, it would scratch off, but I'm not going to do that because I don't want it to scratch off. I'm going to fuzz these vines. I've used these a few times. I really like these little vine pieces to add to any project with flowers. And these two transfers I'm using, the mini florals and the established wreath, they both retail for $14.99. And our paste colors, the 3-ounce paste, I'll have to double check this because all of a sudden I'm blanking, but I'm pretty sure they're $12.99 retail. And then the squeegee here is $4.99, something like that. So you could do this project for pretty inexpensive, and you can reuse the transfers. So I could realistically make 8 to 12 of these exact same things, or changing the colors out, making it a little different. So if I wanted to make this, leave it up on my wall for a month, and then change it out and add different color flowers for a different season, it's no big deal. You can keep using the same things over and over again. And some people, I haven't personally, but some people say that they've actually gotten like 20 uses out of a transfer. So, I mean, who knows? I can't attest to that. I've never actually done that before that way, but maybe so. I'm going to lay this vine down. I want it to kind of protrude a little bit off the bottom, but I'm going to lay a flower on top of it. So you won't be able to see the end of it whenever I'm completely done with this project. And I think I'm going to do kind of the same thing in here. Yeah, I think that'll be kind of cute. Because I'm not even going to take my paste all the way down. I'm going to be putting a flower right on top of that. Another way this is so versatile. And I'm using this evergreen again on this. Let me cover these before I go any further. Can you all hear that alarm? My son's supposed to be timing himself playing the PlayStation, but the alarm's going off and I don't hear any signs of him quitting anytime soon. $12.99. Yeah, thanks Rhea for checking on that for me. Alright, so evergreen again, and I'm using 3 colors for this whole project: evergreen, white, and Thai teal. And this is a 2-ounce paste that you can only get with the starter kit until May 1st, when they'll start giving you the large sizes on that too. So I'm just gonna put this on here like this. Make sure it's covered on my silk screen completely. There we go. Get the other one here real quick. Scrape off any extras. You don't want to waste it, because you can make so many projects with it unless you're wasting your paste every time, and then you'll get less projects out of your paste containers. Alright, so I've got those two covered, like the extra, not a lot of extra on that one. Cover this up because I'm finished with my evergreen. I'm going to put the lid back on over here and pull these. Alright, got this one going too. Go ahead and pull them both like this at the same time. Awesome. Lay them face down in my water and I can just leave them set there. And you all see I'm collecting quite a little collection of transfers in my water over here. I guess you can't get a view of that. I have a pan of water sitting right here. It's full of transfers and water, and they will stay just fine until I'm done with everything, and then I'll just go wash them all off. I'll probably use the sink, or you could just use your pan of water to clean them off in. It's totally up to you. So I'm going to lay down my next two flowers here and do the same thing with the ombre. And since that has a little bit of an issue on this side, I'm just going to cover it with a flower. Now I'm actually going to layer these two on top of each other. Ugh, I didn't let that dry. Shoot. Messy crafting, as always. I get so excited to get my projects finished. And these are mistakes that you all will make, and it's just really not a big deal. The great thing about Chalk Couture is every mistake is pretty much fixable in some way or another. You can turn it into a design instead of a mistake. Since I got a little bit of the paste on the sticky here whenever I did that, I'm going to wet the very corner of this and wipe this off. If y'all excuse me, Jackson, can you turn the alarm off, please, honey? Jackson, thank you. I don't know if he's hearing me or not. I don't want to yell in my mom voice on camera. Although I bet you all have all done it before, once or twice. All right, so let's put this back on here. There we go. Same deal with this, tie teal and my white. Wipe this off, get that evergreen off there. Now if you're using the same paste color with these squeegees a couple of times, you don't need to do that, but if it starts to dry on your squeegee, it'll become kind of crumbly and might leave little chunks of dried paste on your design. That probably isn't what you want to do. So this time I'm going to go a little heavier with the tie teal, make it a little bit of a darker. Oh, he did turn it off. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but much better. And leave some little globs on here for the blending. You need to go. I told you I was doing a video. Thank you. He forgot. Alright, here we go. Yeah, see, so I have my white still on here and it doesn't seem to be affecting it at all. No crumbs getting on this. Kids at home. He's in kindergarten and they only meet here 2 days a week, 1 week, and 3 days a week, another week. It really makes no sense. I don't think that the teachers love it either. It's kind of confusing, hard to keep up. He goes every other Wednesday, so I don't know. Sometimes I don't even remember. I've had to email his teacher and call the school before to figure out if he has to go to school on Wednesday or not. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm going to blend this with my finger just like I did last time. Bring some of the white down and bring some of the teal up here. Give that ombre effect on this flower. And it doesn't have to be a certain way. Like, it's lighter in the middle, darker, it doesn't matter. If it matches the other flowers exactly, that doesn't matter either. So grabbing it at the corner, getting it started, and pulling this up. I'm going to go kind of slow so it doesn't pull up any other thing. There we go. Now I'm going to do my last flower here, and then we'll be done. And I'll put that established back on there before I'm completely finished with this. I actually plan to put this one up on my wall for a little while, so I'll probably take a picture of that and show you all what it looks like with my wall decor. I've been working on a gallery wall, in 2 areas of my house. So it's kind of a slow process. Some of it's Chalk Couture stuff and some of it's stuff that I'm finding out at craft stores, but I'm pretty cheap. So I'm not just going to go out and buy stuff because I like it. I'm going to wait for it to go on sale or for me to get a coupon or something like that, because that's just how I roll. It seems to be that no matter how much our financial situation at home improves, my thriftiness does not. It's actually helpful in the long run because I'm helping us save money for the family, but I'm just wired that way. I was taught how to shop clearance racks by my mom. Thanks, Mom. I'm just going to get this flour dried off here, and we're going to throw one more flour down. And then I'll call this one done, except for that little part right here. Alright, looks like that's dry. I mean, it's that quick, you guys. Look, I'm rubbing my finger over this. Nothing's happening. Alright, last flour going down. Layering all this together here. I am going to bring this one up a little bit like this so you see more of the vine below. There we go. Just make sure it's sealed down all the way. It's funny too that it's starting to get like a pretty good thick texture on here with all the layers that I'm doing. You can feel it with your finger. So here we go again. More of the Thai teal in the middle. Scrape off the extra here. Ooh, lost my cards. Something I haven't done on these yet, but you might want to do whenever you buy one, is to mark the back so you can make sure that you put your transfer back down on the right side. Also, some of these are like exactly similar in size, but when you try to put the transfer back on the backing, it won't stay as well, or it'll overlap the edge a little bit, and then you'll know, like, oops, that's not the right one. So lay this back down on here, a little more white, a little thicker towards the middle so that I can blend it out. There we go. It's starting to bunch up on my squeegee there on the end. That's why you scrape it off whenever you're done. Oh, that was close. Almost got off the edge there. Not a big deal unless you don't want it to touch your other part of your design. Alright, so these two are done. Drop these squeegees in here. And close these up so they don't dry out on me. Blend this with my finger. Ooh, I like this so much. The colors are so cool. We have some awesome colors, Chalk Couture does. Oh my gosh. I want them all. It's really hard. I placed an order this morning and I was like, okay, I'm just ordering this stuff and that's it. And then I get on there and I'm like, oh, but I need this. Oh, but I need this. And I ended up ordering more stuff. But I'll use it all. That's what I keep telling myself. It's okay. I'm going to use it. Or I'm going to sell it. Or it's for somebody else. It's no big deal. Alright. Got my flowers that are layered on there. Looks like I didn't get it real thick here. So it kind of came out. But I don't mind it, actually. It's supposed to look a little rough. With the chalk paint, I kind of like the rougher, more rustic look. So it looks like the paint's starting to come up just a little bit. And that's okay. I like it that way. So here's my finished design. As soon as I get this cleaned off, I'm going to put that established back on there. Can't believe I forgot to do that in the first place. But anyway, I think it looks super cute. Hold it a little closer so you guys can see it better. I'm looking at my cameras to make sure that you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. Alright, y'all can see it. Good. And that's how you layer with Chalk Couture. As long as your layer's dry underneath, you can pretty much keep stacking and layering and stacking and layering until you get it exactly like you want. And if I wanted to, I could just keep bunching flowers on here, but I'm not going to. They do have some smaller flowers that are part of this transfer as well, but I let my mom borrow them. And I don't have them in my set today, or I probably would have used a little bit of those. But I think some little small flowers would actually look kind of cute if you added those in here. The mini floral set, if you look it up, it also has some other little floral type things. I don't even know what you would call these little filler pieces, I guess. I don't know. There's probably a name for them, but I'm not real flower savvy. So here's some of the other flowers that come in this transfer. And these, I don't know what you would call that, but I don't know if it would look good on there or not. I guess you could always try it and see, and if you don't like it, you can wipe it off. So that's all I got for you today. If you all have any questions or you would like to order something, you just need to either message me personally, or you can go on my Chalk Couture website, and I will add the link on here. And you guys can kind of take a look at all that stuff if you want to. If you have any questions, please message me. You can also watch my other videos that are on my page, and it might give you a better idea of how to do certain things. I did a video 2 nights ago, I think, where I used nothing but our inks. And our inks are unique in the fact that they can be heat set and made permanent, which is awesome. I use them to make shirts. I use them to make, 2 nights ago on my video, I made a cutting board so I could use an iron, and I actually ironed it. I made a kitchen towel, a Yeti cup. The Yeti cup is my favorite. If you guys get a chance, scroll through my my timeline on my business page, and you'll see the Yeti cups on there. It was really fun to make those, and I love it so much. I'm drinking a lot more water, so, you know, might be a good way to get yourself to drink more water if you're supposed to be, is make a cool cup. So every time you pick it up to look at your design, you just take a drink. So anyway, if anybody has any questions or needs anything, please let me know, and I really appreciate you all joining me today. And I hate to do this, but the only way for me to shut off my camera is to walk around the table and do that. So you're going to have a little weird, awkward time where there's a blank camera. But thank you so much for joining me today.